Let's talk about the election. Let's talk about the nitty-gritty ground game stuff of the election. Putting in the work is what matters now. You know, there's nothing wrong with wearing a Trump hat and going to a rally, post it on Twitter, but that's not winning elections. That's not putting in the work. Scott Presler's in Pennsylvania right now putting in the work. Let's find out how that work is going. Scott, obviously, it's not exactly news to you. We really need to win Pennsylvania. If Trump wins Pennsylvania, it's very likely he gets another term in the White House. What's the status in Pennsylvania?
Thanks, Jesse. It's always been about PA. And so a lot has changed since we last spoke. And I'm glad to tell you that my organization, Early Vote Action, we have hired a state director for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and we have 12 additional field staff. Our donations are not going to brick and mortar. They're not going to advertising. Everything is going to direct, face-to-face, boots on the ground, voter contact. And one thing that I just announced that we're doing today is we are reaching out to every FFL company or business in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's federal firearms license. And so we're reaching out to gun stores, making sure that every single one of them is going to be carrying voter registration forms. We're going to the farmers markets. We're going to every single fair across Pennsylvania. We are meeting voters where they are, face to face.
How about that? That is how the work gets done. Okay, Scott, so the bad news, I'm still looking at a 350,000 vote advantage for the commies in Pennsylvania. Should I be intimidated by that number? Are we going to overcome that number? That's an intimidating number to me.
Well, let's put things into context because you bring up a great point. Some people may look at the fact that, yes, while Democrats have an advantage of 360,000 more registered Ds than ours right now, let's bring that back to 2016 when President Trump won the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That number was over 900,000 more registered Ds than ours when Donald Trump even won. And 2 years ago, that number was 595. So we are seeing the rapid decline of registered Democrat voters in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And furthermore, we just flipped, Jesse, Bucks County from blue to red. That county voted for Hillary Clinton, voted for Joe Biden, and 4 years ago had 15,000 more registered Democrats than Republicans. Today, right now, there are more than 500 registered Republicans. So that's a shift of 15,500 in just 4 years in a state that was decided by 80,000 votes in 2020. So Jesse, Pennsylvania is trending to the right.
How about that? I like that, Scott. All right. Now, I like that you're going into gun stores. That's friggin' brilliant, by the way. Tell me about churches, Scott. I have been very, very hard on the American church for its reluctance to get involved politically. Are you seeing any kind of a ramp up there? Is that an effort that we can make, that we should make? What's the church involvement?
Well, first, because you mentioned the gun stores, I would be remiss not to acknowledge that 30% of Pennsylvania hunters are not registered to vote. And there are 930,000 hunters in Pennsylvania. So that's why my focus is so directed towards the gun enthusiast community, because if we register them to vote, we win. Now, Jesse, you make a great point that 30% of Christians are not registered to vote. And in fact, on the 24th of this month, I had a reverend reach out to me in Lackawanna. Lackawanna is a very important Northeast Pennsylvania area of the state right next to Luzerne. And in fact, the reverend said, I want to engage my community. I want to get them registered. Can you send a representative? And so a member of our team will be registering voters at that reverend's church. And so I encourage everybody listening to the show right now, reach out to your pastor, your faith leader, and ask for permission to set up a nonpartisan, non-political voter registration table, before mass, after church, after synagogue, whatever. And let's engage people of faith and make sure that they have a plan to vote on Tuesday, November 5th for Donald Trump.
Well, What are you seeing from the Democrat ground game there, Scott? I know that they're professionals here, and we're trying to catch up courtesy to you for that. But I know they're professionals. I know they've been doing this for a long time, and I know early voting starts soon. What are you seeing on the ground?
Well, let's talk about the data. You know, we have seen a lot of quote unquote enthusiasm for Kamala and the Democrats, you know, since they pushed Biden aside undemocratically and installed Kamala as the presumptive nominee. And everybody thought there was going to be this bump, you know, there was this surge. We're not seeing it in regards to data. In the last 3 weeks, when Kamala was installed, you would think they would have a net gain, but no. Republicans for all last 3 weeks have maintained a net gain across the 67 counties in Pennsylvania. The only place that Democrats have really seen a gain of voters is in Southeast outside of Philadelphia. Now, here's the interesting thing. Remember how I told you that we'd flipped Bucks County from blue to red? Bucks County is the only collar county that has actually not seen a net gain for Democrats, and in fact has continued to trend to the right. And I'll tell you from my personal experience, Jesse, being out at fairs like the Butler County Fair, like the Wayne County Fair, sure, the Democrats have a booth and they have a presence, but they are low energy. They are not engaging with voters. And quite frankly, I say this respectfully, our voter booths have had a lot of engagement, enthusiasm, and I have seen a dearth of people at their booths.
Scott, I'm going to ask you a personal question, and I want you to be totally honest with me. What's
Yes.
the best thing you've eaten at one of those fairs in Pennsylvania?
You know, I am watching my figure. I've been getting a little thick recently, but I will tell you, I had some taffy from one of the fairs recently, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. No, I used to like taffy too, but now I'm old and I feel like it gets caught in my teeth too much. Okay, Scott, if people want to help you get out the vote in the state we have to win, the state that can return Trump to the White House, how can they do that?
Please, I need your financial help. Go to earlyvoteaction.com. That's earlyvoteaction.com. I promise you that your donations that you donate today are going to go directly to hiring more boots on the ground. We have 13 staffers. These aren't RNC. These aren't GOP. These are Scott Presler, Early Vote Action staffers. And if you want me to hire more people, please contribute financially today. earlyvoteaction.com.
Earlyvoteaction.com, people. Don't tell me you want it. Show me. Scott, thank you, brother. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.